Hello, classmates. Just go. I can't do this with you here. Okay. So I decided to make a video because it would be easier than, I guess, trying to read all my scattered notes here. So today we were supposed to describe the assessment tool that we chose, and we chose two. So everything I go through we already did once, and then the second time through Amaya and Brandy can do basically the same thing but on a different assessment. So in SimuCase, the two tests we did, the first one was her oral peripheral, which we did the oral motor exam for children, and that provided us with the video, but the video stops at like 2 minutes and 32 seconds or 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and then the visual just cuts out and it's just sound. So it's not your computer, the video is like that. And so we're gonna do the assessment on that one, and then the second one was under the assessment tab of social and emotional, and then we did play observation, where Dora is playing with her brother and the therapist, and so that's our second one. So going to our Google Doc, we got a couple of like example sentences, or I don't know what you would call them, kind of like a guideline, while Susan was just talking to us in class. And we're trying to word them so that we have the first one we described the assessment tool, the second one we explained the communication sample we took, and so for us, our communication sample is a video, because both of the things on SimuCase are videos, allowing us to use that as our communication sample versus like a writing sample or something else. So then we have to do a summative statement from the assessment. So like the administration of this test showed us this and this, and based off the test we could tell this and this. So in the first video, which is the oral motor exam, although we can't actually see what Dora is doing, we can hear how she's not enunciating her T's sounds because she can't lift her tongue. And although I don't speak Spanish, good thing someone there did, we could tell that she would stick her tongue out and she could go laterally and she could stick it in and out, but then when she tried to raise it, it would, she couldn't raise it. And she even, at one point, stuck out her tongue and would lift it. And so, obviously it was a good assessment, and we're gonna use that. The other thing is that on SimuCase, when they gave us our assessment results, it wasn't really results, it was a empty sheet that is what we should have or the clinician would have used to assess her oral motor movements. So then for that, we ended up actually making our own assessment, where there were only two things that she had difficulty doing, and one was elevating her tongue to the alveolar ridge, and the other one was DDK speech patterns, so like the patika, patika, patika. And then, so we filled that out as if we're the clinician, and that ends up being like an extra sheet at the end of our full assessment. So basically for Brandy and Amaya, the way that we did our describe assessment tool, the way we wrote out our assessment results, and how we filled out our own data sheet as if we're the clinician watching her in this video, those are what we're supposed to do. And then because we don't have the full video, because it's only sound for the second half, we decided to, with Susan's help, to to use a second assessment and then explain why we used it. So the second assessment, we need to start with a second hypothesis. So what we did last week, creating that hypothesis, we need to create a new one. and we want to relate how Dora's play with her brother, or how her social interactions should be directly impacted by her inability to fully use her tongue. So we have to somehow relate how she's tongue-tied to how she is kind of pulling back socially, which in the video you can tell her, she kind of like holds back when she's talking, or she'll like purse her lips together. And we'd also want to make sure that they know we're not giving her this test because we're testing her pragmatics or testing whether she has autism or not. We're just seeing how the first hypothesis is actually, interacting or affecting her social use. And we also want to know whether, if we can fix the first problem, which is her being tongue-tied, then if her behavioral skills will need to be worked on after her surgery, which we would hope she would get, or we'd recommend. Dora's play may be affected in the long run, and so we want to know where she's at now and where she will be after any other kind of interventions we give. So basically, what you two need to do is create a new hypothesis. I wrote some of it, like speech intelligibility is compromised because of issues with her being tongue-tied, as well as her social interaction, or her ability to successfully interact with others. So then that would be our second hypothesis, and then you would just do the exact same thing we've done in all of our assessment, as well as watch the video of her playing with her brother and just kind of fill out the assessment form, because we aren't actually given the clinician's report from the assessment. We actually have to do it ourselves, which Susan said was fine. It's practice for us being in the real world as clinicians. So that video you two can watch on SimuCase. Again, it's under social and emotional, and play observation is what it's called. And when you click on it, it'll show you the forms and resources, and the form is called symbolic play form. So at the end of all of this, we're going to have 2 individual attached pages that are one of them is going to be our assessment that we already did, and then the other one's going to be the assessment of the social that you two are going to do. Frankie! Oops. Frankie! Hi, Carly! Hi, bud! Come here, Frank. Come on. This is my little nugget. What? Okay, you want to leave? Okay. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to... Oh, you want your duck? I just wanted to post this so that if you guys are having questions, you can kind of refer back to this, as well as, I don't know, give you guys a better sense of what we did in class. Okie dokie, this is probably the worst video I've ever made. Talk to you guys later.